understand better what's going on and to work with the administration for the appropriate moves that need to be taken.
Well, thank you for having us.
Okay.
Take care.
Marsha, I'll turn it over to you for the next subject.
Okay, and the next piece of our agenda is looking at the council solicitor and reviewing the refined job description, which I believe was sent out to folks last week. It's part of the agenda, and I didn't know whether anyone had any questions. Need further clarification?
The description is also attached to the agenda if you want to refer to that.
Right, thank you.
And Mike Gumbar reviewed it and said it captures everything that was discussed last Monday.
So if we have council agreeing to it, then what are our next steps?
The next steps would be to decide how you want to go about hiring that person. Mike
Okay.
says too, that on the hiring process, Fred and he agree that the scope of the referendum language, that this person will be an employee, a temporary employee.
Right,
So the council has the flexibility to hire/appoint a person to fill that position using whatever process it deems fit and whatever salary benefits that it selects.
okay, thank you, Linda. And Johanny, I see you have a question?
Because to the last meeting and the follow-ups, which is what Linda pointed out to, I thought we were gonna know amount, position status, and also like what benefits the solicitor would be eligible for, if any. So I thought we were gonna have information regarding those details. Position.
Those decisions are city council's decisions. And those decisions, you know, in the end will be negotiated with the person that's selected. If Mike suggests sort of a hybrid type of thing that their office does with other agencies, where you pay a retainer that would be monthly or annually, and then you pay an hourly fee, which would be $165, $175 an hour for other types of work, like handling litigation, quasi-judicial hearings, like conditional use hearings, real estate matters, bond financing, things like that. So if you think about it, he said that in a conversation, he said that their office generally goes into like $2,000 a month, $2,500 a month, which comes out to be, you know, what, roughly 30,000. And that sort of matches up with what Bethlehem pays. Bethlehem pays their part-time temporary solicitor $26,000 a year, then they pay his health insurance.
Does that help you, Johanny?
I might have missed an email or something, but I would like to see what our options are, like laid out with numbers, just to figure out what option would better suit us before we make a decision, right? And figure out also the cost and where we're gonna get the money from to pay for which option we decide on.
So you're looking at the
It was
financial
sent out
option.
already, like a breakdown.
Okay. Yeah, and again, just to be clear, you're looking for the financial options we might have so we can be able to make a choice. Then as far as how it's funded, it goes back to the city to include in the general fund budget.
And that'll go then into a position, a fitting
Right.
position, because of the concept of it being an employee kind of
Right.
situation.
So it's
Does
important that
fall-
we get all the, yeah, I'm sorry, Donna.
It
Go
would
on.
fall under the council budget then, not under the legal budget. Or
Right.
how's that gonna work? That fall under law or would fall under council?
Council
Fall
will need
under
to amend
council.
the budget to provide a line item.
Right.
Okay,
And so then what we need to do is get all this in order. So when the budget is being, and it is in the process of being developed, but that also can be included in there.
Well, Mark,
Yeah, go on.
It's
Jamara.
actually, it's two-track. So if you want that person to engage before the end of the year, you need to amend the current budget,
Gotcha.
but you also need to think ahead to put a line item in for whatever you're going to do for next year.
Good point. Thank you.
And Fred has pointed out that as they're currently down an attorney, that the law office does have the funding to cover it at any point until the end of the year.
Yeah, that helps. Okay, so it seems to me, first of all, are there any other questions from council? I'm just looking at the screen now. Strat, Melissa?
I think we're better off thinking about as needed, paying this man as needed.
Right. And Mike's estimated that position will require approximately 10 to 20 hours per month.
I mean, I don't believe there's any attorney gonna take the job permanent, not knowing. I mean, he knows what he can make as an attorney somewhere else. He's not gonna take a job here for what, $20,000?
Well, it's not a full-time job.
I know it's not a full-time job, but that's why I said, I think as needed, we need a man, we hire the man on a retainer for what he has to do and pay him for it.
Okay, and just to be politically correct, Mr. Marmer, it's either male or a female, okay? But then one of the points that I did hear Mr. Gumbar speak to is the fact that we may need this person to cover some regularly standing types of things like when you have appeals for zoning and such, that there be someone that's representing council and not that the hearing officer wears both hats. So we have to factor that in too.
Yep.
Linda, do you feel you have enough information from Mike Gumbar to be able to look at this possible budgets?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, actually, I've had to submit my budget already, and I included $50,000 for the position for next year.
Does that spell out specifically what the $50,000 would be covering as far as the amount of time and the responsibilities?
No,
Okay, so I think we need to connect those together then. Would you need any assistance with that, or how, where will you see the next steps?
the next steps.
Yeah, I mean, Mike's given us the information. We have a possible budget. To Johanni's point, as far as wanting to see different options.
You've already decided you don't want the council solicitor to attend all the regular meetings.
Okay,
So Mike's suggesting to estimate 10 to 20 hours per month at a retainer of $2,500 per month. And then a municipal attorney hourly rate of approximately $175 an hour to handle the litigation, the zoning hearings, ARB appeals, et cetera. I think we have enough basic information to, when we have the job description now, so I believe we're prepared to decide what process you want to use to select this temporary employee.
The only other part is Linda to create a line item through the end of the year to transfer into the council budget, unless they're not going to start until January.
Right. I mean, that's something that Frank can work through.
I missed that. That's what.
okay, so I just want to circle back to make sure because of Johanni's question. Do you understand now we appear to have everything all lined up as far as what the position would entail and the costs and such?
That we're you just said 10 to 20 hours a month roughly, with a retainer of 2,500 a month. So that means that when this individual is attending litigation, hard hearings, etc., his or her hourly pay is coming out of that retainer item. Is
No.
that
The retainer
No.
would be to cover meetings on request, to review or draft legislation, to prepare legal opinions, perform legal research, work with the solicitor and or the administration on various matters. That type of thing. Those things would be covered up by the retainer.
Of what is going to cost us on a monthly basis, because I heard the 175 per hour. So what are we looking at monthly? How much are we anticipating to spend every month?
For the 175 an hour, as you know, we maybe have 3 conditional use hearings a year, maybe 1 hard hearing a year. So really not all that much. I believe that budgeting $50,000 should roughly cover that. With
So
probably-
when you're asking for a monthly, you just have to do the 50,000 divided by 12.
Right. Well, yeah, not really.
Well, okay, explain that, Linda, then, just so we're all on the same page.
It's not,
Because the retainer is to cover the regular work, like the legal opinions, legal
Okay.
research, drafting things. And then the hourly rate isn't part of the retainer. That's
Okay.
for separate. zoning
Gotcha,
hearings,
okay.
arbitration hearings.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, so it might be different from one month to the next. Okay. I was just trying to give an approximate for Johanny.
so in Linda's figure, the 30,000, the retainer is covered. And then there's wiggle room for variances of the hourly rate. And then at the end of next year, you'll have a most accurate projection for 2023. But Linda, I would think through the end of this year, 15,000 should cut it based on the 2,500 per month plus whatever hearings are left.
Yes. And Mike and I too discussed, how the way we currently do things, with me doing a lot of the drafting of the zoning decisions and the zoning minutes, that, that would lessen his amount of work, because he'd only have to review what I've written and revise it if necessary. So there'd be a cost savings there too.
Okay. Did Johanny had a question, and then Shamara, I don't know whether you had a comment.
We operate and our law department reviews what you draft.
Yes.
Why would we duplicate the service?
Can you say that again?
Yeah. No, it just sounds like duplication. Why would we, if we already, so with our current budget, we already operate this way. Why would we want our new solicitor to do what's already happening and it's already allocated in the budget? Like, why would we pay extra for something that already happens? Like, we don't need that service. Does that make sense?
What
doesn't
service
seem
are you
like we
talking
do.
about? I'm not clear what service you're talking about.
Okay, I'm sorry. So Linda mentioned that currently, right, she will draft some of the ordinances and the law department will review them, correct?
Right.
I was talking about the decisions.
It's already allocated in our budget.
I was talking about like the hard decisions, the conditional use decisions. Any type of special hearing you have, I do the minutes, I do the decisions. And it would become the council solicitor's responsibility, since he's attending the hearing with you, to review that work and determine that it's accurate or it needs revision.
So I think to Johanny's point that we just have to clarify, it's not going to be a duplication. It's going to be ensuring that the council has a solicitor when it's council specific, but there will be things related to council that the city solicitor will still be doing, such as drafting the ordinances. So we just want to make clear in everyone's mind so that people don't come away with the sense that we're paying 2 attorneys to do the same thing. Okay, so again, the next step is for us to decide how we're going to select this individual.
Correct.
Okay. Is that something that Mr. Gumbar gave us any suggestions on? I mean, obviously,
I believe that Mr. Gumbar and Fred determined that since it's a temporary position, temporary employee, that it would be more appropriate to advertise rather than do an RFP.
okay. Do I see any council concerns about doing an advertising for the position? Okay, so if we can move ahead and you could prepare that advertisement, Linda.
Okay, we will do.
Okay. Any other questions out there? Anything we need to be addressing tonight? Okay, any other questions from council? Righty. We're ready to move on then to the next item. Donna, do you want to keep me rolling here, or how do you want to do this?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so the topic is sidewalk repair replacement program. And there's some approved documents that are attached. And I believe we'll turn that over to the managing director. where we
Yes,
wanna-
as a matter of fact, I have a short PowerPoint presentation that I'd like to share my screen for. And I'll
Great.
also call upon Jamal Jamar, and I was going to ask if Stan could be added as well as a panelist in case questions arise regarding public work. So we'll get right into it. Sidewalk repair program. I want to thank council members for bringing this to our attention. I know there's been some discussion on it, and we have definitely put this on our radar as well, and I think you'll be pleased with some of the things that we've learned. First of all, we know the council studies go back to 2011, 2012. It was also part of a 2015 mobility study where recommended facade and sidewalk repairs throughout the community were recommended. There were several council members who shared with us an email recently demonstrating follow-up that took place in 2018. And as a result, we have $400,000 still set aside. That money has not been reallocated by any means. There was another survey that was completed in 2019. And right before the pandemic, Jamal and staff members from community development actually went on a walking tour to assess our sidewalks and the conditions that they're in. The tour took place pre-COVID. So the city wants to engage with local contractors on this. And we've had a lot of discussions internally as to how we proceed. We've been waiting for some results of 3 studies. As you know, the Reading Parking Authority study, a walk-work study that was conducted by the University of Pittsburgh, and of course, Stantec's study that everybody is waiting on with bated breath. We're going to get a draft of that sometime in August, and we'll be able to present that to council as well. So some of the challenges that we've seen, the cost of concrete and materials has risen by 30 to 35% as a result of the supply chain difficulties that many contractors have had. We've been seeing that not just in Pennsylvania, but nationwide as well. The other challenging aspect of this is that ADA ramps must also be redone on any abutting sidewalks, and Public Works must also be engaged earnestly in that endeavor. And if there are any trees, any issues with trees on affected sidewalks, that must also be mitigated as well. So we've got a lot of moving parts, and we've got some action steps that we're going to be sharing with council. Obviously, we're going to be waiting the results from Stantec, the plan in September. We're going to focus heavily on heavily used pedestrian areas like 9th Street, 11th Street, downtown. And I only mention that because I know there have been some requests that have been made here and there sporadically. And we'd like to focus on those heavily used pedestrian areas just to maximize our resources, get the biggest bang for the buck. And we'll also draw on other funds if necessary as well, since it's going to be a need. And that's a perfect segue to the last bullet point, because this is also going to be part of a larger discussion regarding infrastructure, regarding the American Rescue Plan, the American Jobs Plan as well, that all of you have been paying close attention to. So you're going to see some movement on this. And again, I want to thank council members for bringing this to our attention and letting us know that you also want to see some action on this sidewalk repair program for the benefit of homeowners, for the benefit of business owners, and the entire community. So I am more than happy to answer any questions and also invite staff to participate in this robust discussion.
If I may. In
Mayor, your audio's very shaky.
additionally, I have tasked the. I know I've been having that problem that I'm in, or you guys, hold on. 1 second. Oh, go ahead. Take another question while I move around.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Reed.
Yeah, just a couple things. I just want to make sure that we're following, Councilwoman Cepeda Freitas and I had sat on a review committee. Still want to make sure that that will be utilized, and also that the funds as we appropriated them and ordained them are for owner occupied residences, not businesses. Jahani, I believe, Marcia, I believe that's what our recommendation was and what we ordained for those.
Right.
And that there were conditions that need to be met through the applications, that remains a clear and definitive part of how those funds will be distributed.
Yes, owner occupied properties are at the top of the list, Counselor. Absolutely.
Well, more than the top, that should be the only part of the list. Correct? As
And
the
again,
ordinance
what I want to do is I
stands.
want to take a look at what we have right now and combine it with other funds as well. So if there are businesses that could qualify for this as part of American Rescue Plan dollars or American infrastructure dollars, that can all be considered. But to your point, yes, the $400,000 set aside will be for owner occupied properties.
Okay. I think that's the point that needed to be clarified.
Very good.
And can you hear me any better now?
Yes, thank you,
Yes.
Mayor. Go on.
All right. And what I was gonna say was that along conversations that we've been having and finding out and discovering these additional fundings currently, and in regards to some conversations with the American Rescue Plan funding to see how business owners may or may not qualify. And additionally, I have tasked some in the administration about some additional creative ways. In the event that all of this is utilized and is not enough, or it was able to work, in order to have walkable streets, the possibilities of finding ways that maybe the city could find a contractor that would conduct these sidewalks for the homeowners, giving them the choice if they wish to have a contractor that the city has approached, and then the city doing a payment plan for the owners. Now, this is something that has been done in different cities where for lack of better words, a knock on the door is made, or communication is made with the homeowners, and a chance for them to decide whether they want the city or the contractor that the city has approached or has communicated with could do the sidewalk for the homeowner, and they would then make a payment plan to the city, or if they just want to have their own contractor. So there's some options out there. Now, additionally, and again, this is not something that I am prepared to get into full details, but we are also working on an equal business opportunity advisory board.
Okay.
You guys
Yeah.
hear me on that?
Yeah, that's very good. What exactly, how does, what's that entail, Mayor?
Which one? What entails? The
People,
board?
The board, yeah.
Like I said, I wasn't prepared to give a
Okay.
complete presentation. However, Frank, if you want to chime in a little bit on discussions.
Sure, Mayor. Yeah, thank you. As the mayor said, the mayor has tasked his team to take a look at a couple different things. And one of them was how do we foster an environment of inclusion when we talk about contracts and procurement? And we do have one of the books, Minority Procurement Board, but as you know, has been dormant from day one, honestly, due to different reasons. So with that being said, we took a look at that internally, and we'll have more details later. We don't have all the details right now, so I don't want to get too far into things that need to be fleshed out yet. But we're looking at the Equal Business Opportunity Advisory Board as not only being a replacement for that, but more of a catalyst of some additional stuff. So more to follow. We'll be prepared to provide more information to council, and then looking for your feedback and direction how to move forward. So
Okay.
there's more to follow.
That helps. Thank you. Johanny, had you had a comment? Okay.
I was more concerned with all the applicants. There were a lot of homeowners who applied for the grant for sidewalk repair. And obviously there was a rubric, there was eligibility requirements based on income and so on and so forth. We had also worked with Abilities in Motion, because unfortunately there are a lot of sidewalks or a lot of homeowners who are disabled and they can't really navigate the sidewalks. We have people who are blind and the sidewalks are just, are hazardous to some of these individuals. So I'm concerned with the applicants and what is our follow-up to our homeowners who applied seeking assistance to repair their sidewalks.
Mhm.
And what will our new then timeline be or deadline? Because it was supposed to be a pilot program, because this money was actually allocated, I believe, in 2017 or 2016. And please correct me if I'm wrong.
2018, Johanny. You're close.
In 2017, and I think we were gonna.
Right.
Okay, I understand that there were quite a few applicants, and I understand that there was a lot of paperwork that was filled out, and the rubric, of course, was helpful as well. But what we don't have in the city that I've seen anyway are any subsequent documentation that shows that an applicant was approved. But if you would happen to have that, I'd be more than happy to take a look at it. And again, this predates us, but I would be more than happy to compare notes with you just to make sure that those individuals can reapply again if that's the desire for them. We'd like to see if they're still here in the city. Hopefully they still are, but we want to work with them again to get this process going. In terms of your timing, the construction season is coming to a quick close here very soon, and the fact that the concrete costs are going through the roof and the supply chain is still dramatically challenged. I think the earliest we could really look at something like this, realistically speaking, would be spring of 2022, but that's just around the corner. That's not eons away. So that's something that's realistic and workable.
Councilwoman Reed.
Yeah, Johanny and I both had a thick stack of applications, which, I have to look through my back records and stuff, but there was a thick stack that should have been copied probably to the CD department and elsewhere. The application she's referring to, and there was to have been a review committee that would have determined which the priority or which folks would be getting these particular fundings. Johanny, am I right in that? You and I were part of that committee. I'm not sure who else was on it. Linda may recall, but we did have a significant pile of those, and somehow it fell through the cracks, which is a bad way to say about sidewalks, but we certainly need to honor those people that in good faith submitted those applications, and they still need to be part of that process. So with the multiple copies, that should have transcended changes in administration in the departments, and it probably should be there in CD.
If I may add to this, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. To the best of my knowledge, the city council has advertised during through resolutions and qualifications back in late 2019. Applicants who applied at that time, we have their applications. We have about 54 applications. I do recall at the time that Councilwoman Sabina Freitas, as well as Councilwoman Reed, and I sat together and we went through half of the list itself to see who could qualify and who could not. But we have about 54 applications altogether. Those who applied in 2018 or 2017, I don't have any records of those, and we will certainly be more than happy to see if there are any additional information for that, because we will say, with regard to the applicants, they have received calls from us and we have let them know about the progress. And some of them actually have called us individually to let them know that their applications is on file, and when the process starts, it will be evaluated and we will work with them on getting their sidewalk replaced.
Question.
Does that help with your question, Councilwoman Reed? Okay. Any other questions on where we are with the process?
Question, Marcia.
Oh, okay, Councilman Marmaru.
Does anyone up there recall people calling in about damages to their curbing when the city is cleaning up in the neighborhoods? Now, I have two people, I don't know if they applied or not. They were told that they must repair the pavement, the curbing. They didn't create the damage. The damage was created when the city was cleaning the street. Why should they be responsible for repairing the curbing?
Stroud,
Does
I think
anybody-
under this ordinance, it's limited to the sidewalk, not the curb, and also not tree removal. As I believe it, we
I
passed.
think there's something in here about the curbs.
That's, unfortunately, that's separate and apart from this.
Yeah, I was just gonna, yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Just to clarify, Councilman Marmaru, I think that that's a separate constituent kind of complaint that needs to be taken through the process with the managing director for more specifics. It doesn't really relate to this ordinance or this program we're talking about.
I'm happy to follow through with you.
That's correct. The tree removal, curb and gutter repair, and ADA ramp replacement is not a part of the pilot program.
So you have a city worker coming down, cleaning the pavement, cleaning the street, and he knocks a big chunk of cement off your curbing, you have to repair it.
Strat, that's not what was said to you. Could you repeat what I said to you that you need to do next?
Yeah, I understand, but I'm just saying, I'm giving you an example of what the citizens are receiving when they're
Okay.
calling in.
Yeah, and I think if they're legitimate concerns and they need to be worked through the managing director. Okay, any other thoughts or questions on the sidewalks? Okay, so we're doing good here. We have one more item on the agenda, the council recommendations for the Chamber Tech Project. Who's going to take the lead on this one? I know Jamar was working on it. I don't know.
Yeah, the estimate, the new estimate is attached to the agenda also. That's
Okay.
starting on page 17. So we had Public Works come in. If you recall, the speakers in the room are behind the panels on the wall. So we had Public Works come in and take one of the panels down so we could get a look at the speakers. And we had, Ken and I had a discussion with Cindy today, and the three of us believe we could sort of fixing the audio version by having the majority of the installation done by Public Works employees, trades employees.
Okay, so what would be the timeline for that? Because that seems to me to be somewhat complicated job.
Well, we're separating the tech upgrade out of the audio repair.
Okay, gotcha.
So the cost for the tech upgrade is $73,242.86.
Anyone have any?
Ken's original recommendation of the 4 monitors.
Right. And that's what we reviewed last meeting.
Correct.
Anyone have any questions? It's a big project. And Jamar, any comments?
None that I'll share publicly. No.
I think this is a project long time coming as far as getting the council chambers where they need to be, and it's happened during this period when we've had to change our meeting format. I don't have any questions about it. I think we have to do what's most practical and affordable. I don't think we should cut ourselves short on money to make sure it's done the right way though, too. And I think we're gonna have to get adjusted to a new way of meeting, and that it's gonna be more technology driven, meaning that we have to learn to use the technology as we're meeting. And knowing and underappreciating microphones, cameras, the whole piece of it. And maybe we'll need some orientation to the new work environment before we meet the next time, once it's established. I did have one question that I think is probably on a lot of our minds. We're having a virtual meeting tonight. I don't know what the direction is with City Hall about us staying virtual. We have attempted the hybrid meetings using the third floor conference room. So I didn't know whether anyone from the administration wanted to weigh in. I know different council members have different feelings about it, but I just want to make sure when we leave tonight, we have some kind of sense of what's going to happen next Monday night. Jamar?
I'm sorry, I don't have anything on any of that. I have something though related to the comment that you just made.
Okay, go on.
To the extent that we're going to continue in this virtual environment and
Mhm.
having technology drive our meetings, this isn't something I would normally do, but please keep in mind, we're going to need to invest in our human capital infrastructure, that being IT, in order to better support this
Right.
meeting environment. And that's something council needs to start thinking of as we head into the budget season. Not
think
only
it's a-
that as a
yeah.
plug for my department, but just
Right.
thinking bigger picture. In order for this to happen, we're going to need to invest in our assets so that we can physically have somebody that's just available to
Mhm.
respond
Exactly.
evening on a Monday night.
Yeah, thank you very much for pointing that out. And I know from my own work experience, we've had to retool how we've operated and make sure that we have the necessary support, because everything is being run either virtually, online, whatever. So I think recommendation needs to come from the administration as far as what resources they need, and that we can't be, we need to just be able to make this sustainable rather than just be reacting from one meeting to the next. Donna?
But I think also in the short term with the Delta variant, we might have to reconsider everything else, all the technology and everything else aside for the hybrids in the future. Currently with what we're facing and the changes we've had in City Hall with masking, it seems that things aren't getting a whole lot better. This is a very, very dangerous variant. Is there any chance we'll be closing City Hall? And if that's the case, then we will need to stay virtual entirely until maybe, and I don't see this being a long-term thing, but maybe for a month or so till the huge surge passes. Is that a possibility, Abe?
Yes, indeed. And Councilor Reed, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry to say that we're heading in the wrong direction, folks. I've had 3 meetings with the fire marshal's office. This Delta variant has tripled the infection rates throughout the country, not just in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but in Berks County as well. Sadly, we're headed in the wrong direction. We're doing everything that we can to encourage people to get doubly vaccinated, because it has an 85% effective rate. And it keeps people out of hospitals and it keeps people out of funeral homes. However, we are also realists and we need to prepare just in case that Delta variant really gets out of control. Right now, all the estimates that I've seen and all the science is leading to October. So we're keeping a close eye on it. Again, I've had 3 meetings with the fire marshal just in the last 2 weeks. I'm going to continue doing that on a weekly basis if necessary, just to advise the mayor and the administration as to how we move forward. But we're going to take all the protocols and we're going to make sure that everybody's safe. As you know, we have required mask wearing inside the building at all times, unless you can socially distance. I'm sitting in my office right now. There's nobody here. That's why I have my mask on. But most of the day I had my mask on, as did the mayor and other members of his administration. So we're keeping a close eye on it, and we'll have weekly updates.
And the irony now is a year ago, we were looking at our seniors and really trying to be protective of them. But now it's the children under 12. And I have a great niece who now has COVID. So it struck home in the family. And we certainly don't want to put any of us who interact and I would say all of us who interact with children, put them in any kind of risk, you know.
Right. And there'll be some very difficult decisions that are going to need to be made as school reopens and such. I did have a related question to ask. I know there was a press conference I wasn't able to attend about, I believe it's $4 million the city is receiving for health education. And I just wondered whether we had any more details about how that was going to be expended, that we could just give an overview here tonight.
Well, if I may, that's the next phase we accepted the grant. Now the partners, which is the city, was the person that initiated the grant, along with the partners in St. Joe's, Penn State, RAC, and Latino Connections are gonna get connected to and dialogue on how exactly those funds are going to be utilized for health-related information.
Great, thank you, Mayor.
However, if I may add real quick, and I know it's a little bit off topic, but it's not off topic in regards to the cases going up and our concerns. And that's why we decided to, again, with CDC recommendations, ask the public and employees to wear masks at all times while in City Hall and city facilities. It's so much so that some of the clinics had slowed down. So I started talking again with St. Joe's, along with other partners, that there's going to be a media release, I believe, tomorrow morning, where a clinic is going to be conducted again on Wednesday from 12 to 6 and the downtown St. Joseph, 106th Street facility, as of immediately for this coming Wednesday. Some incentives will be occurring, again, as we partner up with some additional individuals, and a press release will be going out tomorrow morning, if I'm not mistaken. Also, you may have saw that I was in a press conference on Friday with the Department of Health, with the Department of Education and our Reading School District to talk about the clinics that we have been conducting in school sites, and how now the state was intrigued by it and want to duplicate. And Governor Wolf announced that today, that they're going to be making a lot more clinics available in schools. So we're going to continue to collaborate with the school district and our partners to make sure that we could continue to provide vaccination to those that wish to do so once they get educated on the issue.
Thank you. Councilwoman Reed?
Mayor and Abe, has there been any discussion that it be a requisite that all city employees be vaccinated, and or show proof of testing that they are tested negative, and or would there be any incentives offered for city employees who have not yet been vaccinated to encourage them to?
I could just say that right now we continue to monitor everything that is going on day by day, and
Is that employee testing? Do we employee test?
everything is being considered about any possibilities to make sure that we, again, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we have a safe environment for everybody to work in and be in. So right now, we just continue to monitor the numbers and continue to collaborate and chat with the experts.
Yeah, these are difficult terrain that we've not navigated before. So I appreciate the work and being prepared for however we need to have to pivot. My personal belief is I wish people would be more health conscious and be able to just understand that this is to save lives and not to impede in their personal freedom, but not everyone comes from that same perspective. So we are where we are now. Unfortunately, we probably wouldn't have been there if different decisions had been made. So we need to do the best as a city to adjust.
You are correct. We need to respect the science, and we need to respect the vaccination itself. It is effective, and we urge everyone who is listening or watching us this evening to get doubly vaccinated. Encourage your family members to do the same.
Yeah. And by that, we mean have both doses.
Correct.
Right.
Both doses, yes.
And
do
and
it
I'm
for
just
the
waiting for
future,
my
do it
third
for the
one.
Kids, do it for the kids.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can't be vaccinated, do it for those 12 and under.
Mhm.
It's so important. It's so
Yeah. Okay. Any other council members have any questions on any of the items? Anything else to add before we adjourn?
Marcia,
Yeah? Attorney?
has everyone had an opportunity to read what Mr. Gumbar submitted about the public participation and attendance at public meetings?
I will ask that question to the body. Has everyone had a chance to? I thought a lot of good detail was put into that document.
And what he's saying is that the guidance from the Office of Open Records says that public agencies should, not shall, return to in-person meetings. So Mike says, in my opinion, this allows some leeway for public agencies to uniquely address their own respective situation in developing the framework for meetings and public attendance. So what he and Fred suggest that we continue to do the council in-person meetings in the third floor conference room, and then set up a site in the Penn Room or council chambers to allow those that choose to attend in public to view the meetings
Mhm.
and comment when they're able to do so. So Ken and I chatted about that today, and we prefer to use the Penn Room, as we'll be able to kind of, with the one click, control that from, well, control it remotely.
So that would be where the public would come to view the meeting if they don't have the technology to view it on their own home.
Correct, and just a reminder too, that if people don't have the internet and they have a telephone, they can easily dial the phone numbers that are listed on every published agenda.
Right. Okay. So do we need,
The one need that will be created is the need for some city employee to be stationed in the room where the public is permitted to gather.
Absolutely.
right,
So, I mean, I can't be both places. No, I need Shelley to be connected from home to be my co-host in case the internet goes down. So we were wondering if perhaps Christian Crespo would be available to be that public face.
Good idea.
and I think the administration needs to consider what works the best from them. Thank you for that recommendation, Linda, but I absolutely agree. Someone needs to be in that room if it's going to be open to the public.
Yeah, let's follow up on that. Happy to do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
And again, I'm taking the position, I understand what our solicitor said. I think because there continues to be changing issues around meeting, I think I would like by the end of Friday to know whether or not it's health related, it is okay for us to have our in-person council meeting on Monday. And that we just have a definite decision either way by Friday at the end of the day. And a lot will be based on, you know, what the city is as far as its policy on keeping the building open. Does that make sense, Abe?
Most certainly does.
Okay. So, and I will pass that on to the council president then, as far as, you know, that's being, you know, the direction. Okay, then, is there anything else before we end the meeting this evening? Okay. I don't know, this is a formal meeting. We don't need a motion to adjourn, but thank you, everybody. And have a relax. And please go out and enjoy the Jazz Fest. It's in full swing, okay?
Yes.
Lots of good visitors. Thank you.
all. Good night, everybody.
Good night.